Alan, of course, back at home tomorrow with Tamworth visiting Gateshead Stadium. But obviously, you've had a bit of a busy sort of week or so. Obviously, the game on Wednesday night. I mean, just looking back to that quickly, when you've had obviously a bit of time to reflect on it and watch it back and things like that, how are you sort of feeling about things now ahead of the weekend and using that to go forward?
A little bit disappointed in that we never really put our stamp on them. We've never really done what we've done against Eastleigh. We want to go with the same formation, the same style, and playing against their exactly same formation. But the bottom line was that Rochdale were the better side on the night. They were fantastic, and I think sometimes we've got to hold our hands up and say that you were done by a better team. It's took them 2-3 years to get to that, and at the minute we're 2-3 weeks in. So it's early days. We know that we're going to come into a lot of pain sometimes because, like you say, a brand new team against teams that are established. It's going to take time to build the squad that we want and get the players understanding each other of what we want. So it's unfortunately we're going to come across games like that. It's maybe something that I need to look at and approach play and stuff like that. How we approach games like that. Do we set up a little bit differently just to try and get something from it, or do we stick to our principles and how we want to play? So something that we've thought about and we've discussed. But again, there were still parts of that game which were decent, but we just didn't threaten enough in behind, and ultimately them took control of the game.
Yeah, and looking at Tamworth, of course, coming to the stadium tomorrow, probably a different challenge in a more physical sense. Traditionally, obviously, Tamworth, one of the more direct teams in the league, probably obviously got a lot of success with it last season, but how are you looking ahead to that and the different challenge that's going to pose for you?
It's going to be a really difficult test again, totally different football game. They're very good at what they do. You've got to hold your hands up to them, but we've got to deal with that. We've got to match them physically, mentally, and then we've got to let our football do the talking. But first and foremost, I said the lads will need to start running behind and stretching the opposition, making sure that everything's not in front of them. We've got to do what we've done down at Eastleigh, where we affected the opposition, we pushed them back, and then we're allowed to play our football. We've got to do that. We can't just expect the teams are going to allow us to play. If you look at the top teams that we played, Rochdale and Southend, then we're really direct with the running, the running behind, constantly making unselfish runs, causing problems for our defence, which is creating space for the players to get on the ball. So we've got to do exactly the same, and that's what we've got to learn from. But it's going to be a real tough test. We've got to make sure that we'll match them. Like I said, physically, we've got to deal with the long throws, the corners, the set players, and hopefully the football will come out on top.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned before Eastleigh last weekend in terms of trying to get recruits in. How are things sort of going on that front at the minute? I know obviously it's not the simplest thing in the world bringing players in. Obviously a lot of detail goes into it. So how are things sort of looking on that front right now?
Tough. It is tough at the minute. We worked extremely hard on it. We thought we were close with one or two, but it's still taking a lot longer than I wanted it to, because you can see we still need that. The young lads need a little bit of help in the middle of the park, and that's no secret. You can see that, everyone can see it, and we knew that from day one, but we've got to be mindful of bringing in the right people. We've got Butts and Ty to come back, who aren't far away at this moment in time. We've got Carl Johnson to come back, but listen, we've got to be very careful in what we recruit. Like we say, we've got to be really creative in how we do it. We haven't got bucket loads of money. We're very strict on that, and we've got to be very picky in what we bring in. We can't just bring people in for the sake of it. We've got to be the right personnel to fit into what we've got and fit into the right dressing room. So there's a lot of boxes that need ticking, but we are working extremely hard on that front.
Yeah, and in terms of I know you mentioned it a little bit injury-wise there, a few lads sort of not a million miles away from coming back. How's everyone looking off the back of midweek? Obviously you've got Saturday and then you've got Monday as well, still a busy schedule. I mean, on Wednesday, a positive on the front that Max Melbourne got some minutes, obviously the first time that he's probably been able to play in a little while as well.
Yeah, I thought Max come on and he done exceptionally well, and the rest of the lads, as I say, we've got a couple of them on far from fitness now. You're looking at Carl Johnson, could potentially be involved on Monday. Ty probably a week away, but probably 2 weeks. So we're getting them back, and it would be great. Like, they're in training now, but match fit, they're not quite there just yet. But having them in and around the place and training, then bring them in on the match day will be a massive boost for us. So again, that's why we can't move too quickly on a certain type of players that we're bringing, because of what we've already got. And that's where we are as a football club. We can't overload ourselves with loads of players. We've got to be really careful on that front. But having them back training has been a real boost, and hopefully we can get them involved very soon.